In this video, we're going to take a look at the new features that are available in Lightroom Classic version 11 that was released October 26, 2021. Initially, I'll list out the areas where Adobe has improved Lightroom. After that, we'll go inside of Lightroom and see what looks different. As usual, Adobe has added more lens profiles and camera support. This is not uncommon and usually comes out with every new version of Adobe Lightroom to support the new hardware that's available to the users. We also have changes inside of the metadata panel. There's two new buttons in the metadata panel, one for targeting photo displays and edits only the metadata of the active photo, whereas selected photo retains the old behavior that we had in the previous version. If you click on an icon in the top left corner of the metadata panel, you can switch to an edit-only view. This view will only show fields that can be edited, and it doesn't show any of the existing metadata, so it's faster. You can also now customize the metadata that's showed in the default metadata view. The next feature is for you folks who submit stock photos using the Adobe Stock plugin. You'll now find that the keyword hierarchy and sort order are now sent to the stock website. This is different than the previous version where it was sorted alphabetically. We have improved asynchronous performance now. Now Lightroom will take advantage of the multi-threading that's capable on multi-processor machines, so you can do more operations simultaneously. We have a catalog update in this version. After you perform the upgrade, Lightroom is going to ask you if you want to upgrade your catalog. When you upgrade your catalog, it will still retain a copy of your old catalog. The catalog change involves database changes with the new version of Lightroom to enable new features or to improve performance. Don't be alarmed whenever it says that your catalog will not be compatible with previous versions. Remember, you still have a copy of your old catalog. We have a change for those who use automatic XMP rights. If you have automatically write to XMP enabled in your catalog, the previous version, if you were in the develop module, every time you made an adjustment, it would rewrite the XMP data. Now, with this version of Lightroom, it will wait until you move on to the next image before it actually tries to write the XMP. We also have some other performance enhancements in the form of thumbnail previews being updated much faster whenever we're doing batch editing. And for Mac users, video and slideshow playback will now take advantage of Apple Metal. In our metadata filter pop-ups, we now have a new month-day option to filter on. This is great if you're looking for an event that happens annually, like a birthday or an anniversary, and you need pictures from that event. We can now find all the photos shot during that event for a specific date, regardless of the year. And we have more new presets. In this version of Lightroom, Adobe has released another 8 sets of presets for us to enjoy. And Adobe has also moved the User Presets folder to the top of the panel to make it easier for us to access our own presets. And finally, the change that will have the biggest impact on us is the changes that Adobe has made to masking inside of Lightroom. Let's take a little closer look at this change and some of the others that we've talked about inside of Lightroom now. So inside of Lightroom, below the histogram, we used to have the local adjustment tool where we had our radial filter and our gradient filter listed down here. Now we have that all wrapped up into a single masking icon that whenever we click, it exposes all the masking features that we have now. Now this isn't a detailed tutorial on the masking. I'll do one of those here in the next few weeks, but this is just a general overlook. So there's a couple different things here in the masking that'll be quite useful. The first one I want to try is select subject. So in this picture over here, I have a picture of a gannet, and it's pretty easy. If I select subject, it goes through, uses AI, looks at the picture, and then determines that this gannet is the main subject. And so it's applied the mask to it. So if I come in, now watch, whenever I start to change things, the mask will go away. And I am now able to see. Now to turn the mask back on, I just come back up under the masking panel up here, and I can turn it back on again. I can turn it off. I'm able to change the color to whatever I want that masking panel to be, or that masking overlay. This one is a little bit more difficult. Well, if we come back into here, pull up in the masking panel, select subject again, the AI goes through and it's working its magic. And it's gone through and selected, and it did a really good job on selecting the gannett. Let me change the color back to red here. That might be easier to see. So if we wanted to remove this section down here that was selected inadvertently, we would just click on the mask, do a subtract, and I would choose brush, and then we would just come in here and start to remove that. I'm not going to go through this whole process here because we would do it with a lot more care, but you can see we can go through them. We're only having to clean this up just a little bit, but we've got a really good mask overlay. So in this example, we have a landscape, and I just want to select the sky. I can come in here, I can click sky. The AI comes in, does its magic again, and it just selects the sky. Now, once again, whenever I start to make changes to the sky, as I bring it down or increase the exposure or contrast or whatever it is I'm doing, it will take that overlay and turn it off so I can see what I'm doing. And when I want the overlay back on, I just click it back on. Or I can press the O button, and it will turn the overlay back on and off. Once I choose the mask icon and I've created a mask, to create another mask, I just either click on the mask, so I might want to mask farther inside of the mask that I'm working on, or if I want to create a totally new mask, I just come up here and I can select my previous versions like my linear gradient, my radial gradient, but it's also now we have added the color range and the luminance range as their own masks. Once we click on that, we get the box like we had before with the linear gradient filter or the radial filter, where we were filtering on the luminance range, except now it applies to the whole image. I can adjust for highlights, or I can adjust for my shadows. I can also invert the mask by clicking invert, just like I was able to do before. So on my sky mask, if I wanted to add a luminance range filter inside of this mask area, I would select a subtract, and then I would get this luminance range where I could actually drop down where I'm subtracting out, and I'm only dealing with the sky at this point. Now, if I wanted to add something more to the sky, I would do the same thing, and I would just click add, and I could do luminance. Color is going to work very similar. I've got this, let me crank the color up here, but I would select the color range mask on here, and I could either hold down the shift key and drag across, or I could just click and it will select everything that's color. So we're looking at the green and the grass that I've selected here. And then I can make changes to that once again. Once I start to play with this section over here, it will go through and take the mask away, and then I have to turn it back on. So we can see that the masking features inside of Lightroom have completely changed. I can name these masks now. I can do a variety of things. So this is really a huge game changer inside of Lightroom as far as masking goes. So just 2 words of warning here. In this version of Lightroom, there's a folder inside of your Windows or a package file inside of your Mac OS, and it's called basically your catalog name .lrcat-data, and it will contain your LUT data from imported profiles plus any selected subject and selected sky masks. If you're doing your own backups, you need to make sure that you back up this file, or you will lose these masks whenever you do your backup if you don't back up that data file as well. And another word of caution, these are not backwards compatible. So if you use sky mask and select subject mask and you try to use it with a previous version of Lightroom, they will not function. I will do a more in-depth tutorial on these new masking features here in the next few weeks. This was just kind of an introductory to show you what was there. The two new buttons that we've talked about inside the metadata panel are here. Up in the top left-hand corner, we have a switch to edit only mode, which basically displays fields that are editable. So if we click on this, we can see that we can edit these fields. And then if we pull this up, we have our image name and folder, which isn't actually editable inside of the metadata folder. We also have this target photo and selected photo. So right now, I only have the one photo selected, so these are grayed out. But if I come down here and select multiple photos, now they're highlighted. If I click on, and I'm using the targeted photo displays, it edits only the metadata of the active photo that's in the screen. Selected photo actually retains the previous type of behavior where it will edit the metadata in all the photos. Now, to be able to filter by a specific date, what we need to do is we come into Library, we select Filter by Metadata, enable Metadata Filter, and then we get this filter up here on the top. Normally, we used to just have a date where we would have to filter through, but in this case, now we can change it to month, so we want to see all the photos shot in January or all the photos shot in February. So to be able to show a picture taken on a particular date, we would come over here, select month, and I'll select April. And then we would select day over in the next filter. And in this case, I'll select the 4th. And this will show all the photos that were captured on the 4th of April, regardless of the year. So that's what I have for you this time. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please click the like and subscribe down below. That'll help my channel out quite a bit. And I'll see you next time. Take care.